begin with, it's important for us to understand the definition of economics. And like any other science, it begins with the study of, or the science of the study of. But with economics, it's the study of the allocation of scarce resources. So think about that carefully. It's not the study of scarce resources. It's not the study of the allocation of resources, because we don't try to allocate resources that aren't scarce, like air or sunshine or outer space. Well, those aren't really scarce, so we don't try to allocate them. But for pretty much all of the other resources that we have, our time, physical resources such as ore and wood and plastics and so forth, we have to find the best way to allocate those. And so economics is trying to study that allocation of scarce resources. Now, that means scarce resources are very important as a part of this definition. So I got a little story to tell you about scarce resources. And in this story, there are two college students at Ball State. They get together for lunch in the lunchroom. And as they sit down, one of the students has two big bottles of nice cold water. And the other boy sits down with no water, but he pulls out two small bags, sets them on the table, and he says, "You won't believe this, but my grandmother, who died just a week or two ago, left me 2 bags of diamonds. I'm rich." And he has 2 bags full of diamonds. Well, see, the other boy, thinking that's great, half jokingly says, "I'll tell you what, I'll trade you one of my bottles of water for one of your bags of diamonds." Well, the other student, of course, is incredulous and says, "That's ridiculous. My diamonds are worth a lot more than a bottle of water. I can just go over to one of the vending machines and pull out a bottle of water and pay $1 for it." So that ends. But that summer, the 2 boys decided they were going to go to Arizona and hike in the desert. Why? Who knows? But they did. And the one boy had his regular 2 bottles of water in his backpack. The other boy, of course, to keep them safe, had his 2 bags of diamonds. Well, they got lost in the desert. And after a few days, the bottles of water seemed very, very useful. And those bags of diamonds just were something heavier to carry around. So at some point in time, as they thought they were going to probably die, or at least the one boy did, he turned to the boy with the water and said, "I think I'll take you up on your offer. You offered me a bottle of water for a bag of diamonds. I think I'll do that now." Well, the boy with the water thought about it for a minute. He says, "I'm not sure I really want to do that, because diamonds are really of no value to me if I die, and I need this water to stay alive." No, that's the end of the story, but the point is something changed. And what changed was that diamonds became not very useful when water became scarce. The scarcity of water, when it's a necessity, puts great value on it. But when there was lots of water, it didn't have much value. And so the allocation of scarce resources is a very important thing in our society as we try to find what is the optimal allocation of scarce resources. Now, the next thing that I want to do is to talk to you about 8 or 9 basic principles of economics. These are principles that every economist understands thoroughly, and we use them in our evaluation in trying to understand the world around us. A friend of mine, who's an economist, of course, told me that learning about economics was like getting a pair of magical glasses. You put them on, and suddenly you see the world in a new way with greater detail than you've ever seen before. And that's really what you have before you right now, is the opportunity to get that pair of glasses to see the world differently. The first principle that I want to tell you about is the principle of trade-offs. You see, life is full of trade-offs. You're constantly making decisions to spend money on this or time on that, and every time you do that, you're making a trade-off decision. And that principle of trade-offs introduces the concept of opportunity costs. In other words, when you pick one choice, you lose the other choice, and therefore you have an opportunity cost. Let's think about it this way. On the one hand, you can go to college. If you do 1 year of college, it's going to cost you $15,000. On the other hand, you have an opportunity to work in a job. In this job, you can make $40,000 a year. So what is the opportunity cost of going to school? Well, the opportunity cost is you're out $15,000 and you miss the opportunity to earn $40,000. So your opportunity cost is $55,000 to go to school. However, why do you want to go to college? because you believe that when you're finished, you'll be able to make more money in the long run than if you didn't. Well, let's say that that's true. And so you make the choice to go to college, you forego the $55,000 each year for 4 years. Now you're out over $200,000, maybe $250,000 with interest, and you now go get a job. Well, instead of a $40,000 a year job, you get a $100,000 a year job. And now you're on a track of $60,000 a year more for the rest of your life. Therefore, the opportunity cost of taking a job today instead of going to college might be several millions of dollars. So this is evaluating opportunity cost and how we consider those things. Let's look at it another way. Let's suppose that you have a job making $20 an hour and you decide that you want to buy some piece of clothing. And this clothing, you look it up online and you find 3 stores that offer the clothing. The first store is only a 10-minute drive away, and you're going to have to give up some time working, because you're an hourly employee, to go and buy this, and the item is $100 at 10 minutes away. You find another store that's a 30-minute drive each way, and they're offering the item for $90. But you look further and find one that's an hour drive each way, and they're offering it for $75. So you look at these 3 choices, you think about your $20 an hour cost that you're giving up by not working, and you try to make the best decision. So what is the best decision? The $100, the $90, and the $75. How do you calculate that?